My name is Julian, I'm 35. And I live in Portland, Oregon. The smell hit first carnations. Too many, too sweet wilting in the hallway. Where the light never touched, she stood in the doorway, like a shadow that refused to leave, her perfume clawing through the grief-soaked air like a parasite in bloom. I didn't invite her in, she invited herself. Her heels clicked across the wood like bone on bone. She didn't cry, not even at the urn, just stared. Her lips puckered, her eyes already measuring the drapes, the chandelier, the silence. She called it our loss, but I watched her eyes catalog every corner of the house, like a vulture circling meat that hadn't finished twitching. My wife hadn't been laid to rest, or rather, not buried at all long enough for the dust to settle, but her mother came already dressed. In war, she thought I was soft. I could feel it in the way she glanced at my hands, how gently I moved, like I'd break under pressure, like grief made me pliable. I didn't argue. Grief does something strange to your body. It makes you slower, but inside, the silence sharpens. I offered her tea. She declined. She wanted documents. She wanted keys. She wanted to know what had been left behind. I watched her pass by the photo in the hallway, the one of us at the edge of the cliff, wind in her hair, the ocean fracturing into foam behind us. She didn't pause, didn't see it, or didn't want to. Upstairs, the door to the bedroom stayed closed. I hadn't opened it since the day she stopped breathing. She asked about the safe. I didn't answer. Instead, I led her to the kitchen, deliberately slowly. The light there was weak. Afternoon smothered in storm clouds. Windows streaked with condensation. Like tears no one would wipe. She trailed behind me. Eyes scanning, always hunting. You're not strong enough for this, she murmured, once fingers tapping the counter like she was, waiting for the truth to arrive in a manila envelope. I smiled and handed her a cup of tea. She hadn't asked for drink or don't. It was all the same to me. She sat, her body barely touched the chair legs, crossed like royalty perched on ruins. You should know, she began, my daughter didn't believe in shared accounts. Everything was in her name. She said it like a warning, like a knife unsheathed, with a polite smile, but the moment she said daughter, something twitched behind my ribs. Not pain, something older, something awake. I didn't flinch. She brought out a paper. Not the will, not yet. Just a list. Items she wanted. Items she knew were hers. The jewelry box. The car. The coastal cottage. Neither of us had ever visited. The teacup steamed. Quietly between us, a ghost warming its hands. I said nothing. Just looked at her, at the cold precision around her mouth. The way grief hadn't touched her eyes. And in that moment, I remembered. The night before she died, my wife took off her ring and placed it on the bedside table. Not a word, just the clank of metal against wood. I thought it was exhaustion. I thought she was tired of hospitals, of wires, of waiting for news. That never changed, but there was something else in the way she looked at me. I need you to be strong when I go. She didn't say it. She didn't have to. She knew what her mother was. She'd left me letters. Not love letters, instructions, passwords, hidden things, not for sentiment, for protection. She didn't trust easily, but she trusted me. When she died, she took the warmth from the house, but not the fire. Are you listening to me? Her mother snapped. Her voice cut the quiet like glass through velvet. I nodded, then stood, walked to the cabinet behind the fridge, pulled out a box wrapped in black tape, small, heavy, unmarked. I placed it on the table. She stared at it like it was a snake. What is that? Her last gift. Her hands hovered, but she didn't touch it. I stepped back. She opened it. Inside, a letter, a flash drive, a photograph. Her as a child, arms crossed, a bruise forming under one eye. I watched her expression calcify, blood drained like a tide going out. You shouldn't have this, I said. Nothing. She reached for the letter. I didn't stop her. She read, and the tremble started. The letter wasn't addressed to me. It was to her. My wife's handwriting, raw and unedited, spilled secrets, like blood abuse, manipulation, how she'd been forced to smile in family photos, to perform daughterhood under threat, how she'd promised herself she'd never let her mother win, not in life, not in death. The last line. If you're reading this, it means he was stronger than you thought. And I chose right. The room was silent, but the storm outside began to scream. She stood slowly, stiffly, and knocked over the cup. It shattered. She left without a word. The house exhaled. When the door shut, not loudly like a bruise under bandages, quiet, dark, honest, I sat in her chair, felt its warmth disappear, and let the quiet crawl back in. She didn't come back. She wouldn't, because the dead don't need revenge. But the living, we carry the fire, and I still had the match.